meritocracy, where someone is employed simply because they can do the job. That's Sir Trevor speaking right now. Maurice Mcleod is the chief executive of, I think it's pronounced ROTA. It certainly stands for Race on the Agenda, a social policy think tank that focuses on issues that affect black, Asian, minority and ethnic communities. Maurice, have we got sufficiently far down this road that Sir Trevor is right, or in your view, is it still a work in progress?
I think both of those things. Hello, Alastair.
Hi, how you doing? You all right?
I'm well. I think both of those things are true. We have still got a long way to go, but I kind of agree with Trevor that you should hire the best person for the job. The only thing I'd say is that that's not just an individual thing. So if your workforce to function properly, you should have different voices and different experiences throughout your organization. So if someone's come into the job and they're equal to somebody else, but they have a different experience, then that, I would argue, puts them above the person. In this case, we're talking about race. So yes, I'm uncomfortable with quotas too. Like Trevor, I've been the only black person in a new job, and you feel the weight of not just everyone's looking at me thinking I only got this job because of my race, but also, if I mess up, then I'm messing up for all black people. That's what it sort of feels like.
That was the second point is intriguing, because when I was working with a guy Clive Jones, because he went on to run the Disasters Emergency Committee, but he was a big figure at ITV for so long. We talked long and hard about this way back. And one of the key points is that if you appoint somebody to a particular job who may or may not be just quite up to it yet, but you're giving them the benefit of the doubt because you think it's a leg up, you don't only run the risk Trevor's talking about, i.e. he or she's only doing it because they're black or whatever it might be. The second thing is folk at home will look at it and folk at home will think, oh yeah, not really up to it, but hey, nodded through. Everybody loses with quotas.
I would say, I'd look at it slightly differently. I'd say that there are plenty of people of all different backgrounds who are able to do the job. So it should never be a case of, ooh, that person's not quite good enough, but they're black or they're gay or they're whatever. Therefore, I'm going to put them through. It should never be that. If that's the case, if those are the only black people in front of you, then I'd say that something's wrong with your recruitment process.
Yeah. Has that thought
to find people who are skilled enough?
Has that thought ever crossed your mind, though, when you've been either listening to the radio or watching television or seeing some other public agency go along, that he or she's only, there's a risk that he or she is only doing what he or she is doing because of those issues? Has that thought ever crossed your mind?
I think it crosses everybody's mind. You look at someone in a job. I'd like to, when we get to the place where there isn't only one, black person in the room, then maybe that weight won't seem such a shock. It won't be like, oh, they've only got the job because of this or that. We'll assume, as we always have with everybody else, that they've got the job because they're good enough. So yes, I guess I'm human, and so we all have those thoughts, and I'm sure the person who got the job has those thoughts, but we do need to do something to break the hegemony. We need to do something to change these institutions.
Sure. When I was at ITV News, there was a system introduced, and it was quite literally a diversity report after each programme, and it would look at the gender balance and the ethnic balance of all the human beings who were involved in that programme. Newscaster, reporters, interviewees, people in vox pops, where they go up to people in the street and say, what do you think about X, Y or Z? And it would measure the balance between men and women, people of mixed race, black, ethnic minority, white, and so on and so forth. And one of the real issues that cropped up time and time again was, if the best person in that particular field, and it might be, this morning we had diabetes and happened to be a man of colour, or it might be comedy and it turned out to be a white man and what have you, you've always got to go for the best guest. You've always got to go for the best interviewee, despite that. It's not just the presenter.
Yeah, absolutely. You go for the best interview. I think that those sorts of monitoring things, they feel crass, don't they? They feel like, oh, you're counting colour or you're counting that sort of thing. But to be honest, they often reveal things that can go unnoticed. So it might be that you produce your show and you don't really notice that you never have anyone from up north, or you never have anyone working class, or you never. And so sometimes doing that sort of monitoring can reveal that. But yeah, it doesn't feel, because I'm more than just black skin. I'm working class. I'm a Londoner. I'm this. I'm a Liverpool fan. There's all sorts of different parts to my existence, and so sort of breaking it down to just the fact that I'm black does feel like a reduction. But while there is when there are specific lacks or specific discriminalities that lead to there being a lack of certain types of people in organisations, I can see why they make steps to artificially, initially, I would hope, get the ball rolling.
When I was reading up this, because I saw Trevor, I didn't see it on the website, to be honest, but I saw it when the Daily Mail ran with it, and to the Mail's credit, for a national newspaper, actually quotes another source. It's not a Mail original. The other thing that crossed my mind is that Trevor's actually talking to bosses and people who make appointments, and people, particularly those who appoint newscasters, top figures like Trevor. It's a reflection of what's going on at the BBC, and whether or not it's wokery, as somebody said on the programme earlier on, political correctness, as somebody said. If you're going to do that, you're doing it for very good reasons, but you've got to do it very, very carefully. Get it wrong and it explodes in your face. I mean, that's the bottom line, isn't it?
But that's the case with anything, to be honest. Yes, of course they need. This is a sensitive and nuanced issue, and it needs to be dealt with in that way. And if you get it wrong, of course it can explode in your face. That's not a reason not to do it, though. Of course, that's not a reason not to. These issues have been around for so long, and they've been so stubborn to really get proper diversity going, especially in newsrooms, which is my background as well.
Yeah.
I've been having these conversations for my entire career. And there are slight improvements. There are, I'm not going to pretend there aren't any, but we're still a long way from, reflecting the society that we serve. So, yes, we can be critical of any idea or any effort, any tool to try and fix that, but we still do need to fix the problem.
I agree with you 100%. Final point, and we've only got about a minute left. But when I mentioned earlier on that I was going to be doing this item, I didn't know then that it was you I was going to be talking to, but which is excellent because I'm aware of the work that you do. I got 4 or 5 tweets from people saying, when you finish talking to Maurice about this, can you also get somebody on who can talk about diversity vis-a-vis disabled people, for example? And I used to do some work with Scope. And there are 1 or 2 disabled actors and actresses, and there are indeed disability reporters as well. It's an intriguing field of trying to create a media that actually reflects the country that we are, but making sure that those qualitative points that you've expressed and I've sought to express are sustained. I.e., it's not just colour; it's all sorts of things.
No, very, very much so. It's diversity. People often think diversity and they think colour. There's so much more to it. 11% of journalists are working class, yet 60% of the public are working class. So there's lots and lots of different things that we need to look at. And it's certainly not going to be done in the long term by simply quotas. It's not possible. The way you do it is by having a truly open process where everyone in society can apply equally, and then you get the best people. And then what you'll find is you end up with an organisation that does reflect the society it serves. It's possible. It takes hard work, and it takes lots of navel gazing, I'm afraid.
And did, in your view, Tony Hall at the BBC make as much progress as you had wanted, or do you see that? We were talking earlier on about Tim Davie and comedy, slightly tongue-in-cheek, but it's an issue for him. I talked long and hard with all sorts of folk about the political impartiality. Is this still quite a big issue for Tim Davie, the incoming boss of the BBC, or is it pretty well a job done?
You mean diversity at the BBC? Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm afraid it's not job done. I agree. There have been massive improvements, and they've been, I've seen the efforts. I've seen the various processes and systems that they've put in place, and they have made huge strides. I don't think we're there yet, and it's one of those sorts of things I don't think you can ever sleep upon, because we still have a propensity to hire people that look and feel like us. We hire people that we feel comfortable with. So there's always a risk that we slip back if we're not aware. But
absolutely,
I think he's made big strides. Yeah.
No, good. And as we've said throughout, you, Maurice Mcleod, me, Alastair Stewart, and the great Sir Trevor MacDonald all agree we only appoint the best person for the job. Good to talk to you, Maurice. Thank you very much indeed. Talking of people who are best for the job,